You never quite know what to expect in your day out there on the water, just like the crew on board the MSC Houston 5 found out this past week, when the container ship was off the southwest corner of Portugal near Cape St. Vincent, when all of a sudden the vessel encountered a strong winter storm. The vessel was reported to have experienced winds approaching 50 knots, causing the last stack on the stern of the vessel, as seen in the images here, to collapse to the starboard, ripping open several boxes and having several boxes go overboard. The ship was sailing from Paria to Liverpool, England. Initially, it tried to divert to Leixões, Portugal, but unfortunately, due to its size, it was unable to enter that port and had to divert to the port of Vigo in Spain. A survey was conducted in the port of Vigo, indicating that approximately 15 to 20 boxes went overboard during the storm. Port officials are saying they've been advised there was no dangerous cargo in any of the containers involved in the collapse, but Portuguese authorities, however, are issuing a navigational warning for possible debris in the water. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Ecuador, where this newly released footage shows the scene back on March 10th, when the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Stones embarked Hidron air crew detected a suspicious vessel in international waters, approximately 270 miles southeast of the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. The go-fast boat seen in the images here wound up spotting the air crew, and the next thing they knew, they began to unload the cargo on board this vessel into the water. The Hidron air crew quickly employed airborne force tactics to try and compel the vessel to stop, and the U.S. Coast Guard Stones boarding team interdicted the go-fast vessel and wound up apprehending two smugglers who were on board the boat at the time of the incident. The crews wound up going back and grabbing the cargo out of the water, which wound up being approximately 4,000 pounds of narcotics that were brought on board the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Stone. This was all part of the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Stone's most recent deployment. During this particular deployment, they wound up seizing approximately 45,000 pounds of illicit narcotics worth over $500 million. The seizures occurred during 14 interdictions in international waters, and 35 suspected smugglers were arrested during the incidents to be transferred ashore to face federal prosecution in U.S. courts. All of the illicit narcotics and the smugglers who were apprehended during these interdictions were all brought back to Port Everglades this past week, creating quite the haul for the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Stone and all of its participating agencies that were involved in all the interdictions. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to the West Coast and take us up to Washington, where this was the scene just a little over a week ago when two sailors who were participating in the Possession Point race had to be rescued from the Puget Sound near Edmonds after falling off of one of the contending boats, as seen in the video here. The two sailors who wound up falling in the water were a man and a woman who were on board one of the vessels participating in the race. Winds made for choppy weather during that day. According to local weather reports, wind gusts of upwards of 41 miles per hour were reported during the time period that the race was going on. The two wound up in the water for approximately 45 minutes before they were able to be saved using a life sling that was on board the sailboat. The water temperatures are reported around that time to be close to 47 degrees in the Puget Sound. Here we can see the crews struggle to try and bring the two in. As they were using the life sling, they were unable to maintain a hold on it, possibly due to the cold weather conditions. 47-degree water will absolutely set hypothermia in on anybody who's in the water fairly quickly. Fortunately, in this situation, the two sailors who went overboard also had life jackets on at the time of the incident. I have to imagine if that was not the case, we would have a completely different outcome in this one. One of the wild parts of this scene is how much is actually going right. Yes, two people are in the water, but as you can see here, a lot of things went the correct way to get these people rescued. One, the crew on board the sailboat took extremely quick action. Once they went overboard, the sails went immediately down and the vessel went to under power to give it the most maneuverability to help secure the rescue of the people who were in the water. And also, as you can see, they were able to quickly get the life sling deployed, which can be a little bit of a tricky item to get out there and get it landed right. This is one of those items that many sailors in larger boats may have on board, and many times nobody's ever practiced with it. They've never practiced trying to get it deployed, nor trying to throw it, which sometimes can lead to some complications complications when you're trying to retrieve somebody with it. Also, people who are using it, such as the people in the water, are not trained on it either. Once again, adding another technicality to something that can make it a much more difficult and dangerous situation. I still feel, though, the main thing that went right in this situation was that the people who went in the water were wearing life jackets. Far too often in situations like this, you wind up going overboard and you don't have a life jacket on. Here, 45 minutes in sub 50-degree water without a life jacket, this crew, I truly believe, would have been in a very, very dangerous and perilous situation. But as you can see at this point in time in the video here, they've reached the back of the sailboat and the crew on board is beginning to pull the two from the water and get them brought to safety. Shortly after the two get pulled back onto the sailing vessel, the South County Fire Department as well as the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office both show up on boats to assist with the situation. They wound up taking the two sailors off of this sailing vessel and bringing them back to shore so they could get medical attention they needed from hypothermia after being in the water for that extended period of time. Fortunately, in this situation, neither one was injured. Both were released from the hospital the same day that they went in, which is a pretty amazing feat considering the conditions and the weather and temperatures they were dealing with during this incident. Following the incident, one of the boaters who wound up in the water was interviewed by local media, and she responded saying, yes, according to the Coast Guard, they were in the water for approximately 45 minutes. She said she had serious hypothermia and was taken to the hospital via the sheriff's boat and ambulance, as we mentioned. She said when she got there, she wound up warming up in the doctor's office for about an hour when the doctor came back in and said by some miracle that she was fine, and she thanked God that she was wearing a life jacket, all points we've made as well. This one is a really lucky situation to end the way it did. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Australia, and it's also going to feature two people who wound up in the water, but this time they jumped in on their own accord as two divers had to be rescued by a passing by ferry after they were allegedly left stranded at sea by a tour boat off of Western Australia. The two scuba divers were on board a tour with the Perth Diving Academy at the time of the incident when all of a sudden they came back up and could not find the boat and were alone in the water for several hours before a Rottnest fast ferry happened to be passing by and spotted the two in the water. They pulled up to the two scuba divers and tried to bring them aboard the vessel and then reached out to the captain from the Perth Diving Academy, and this is how that conversation went.
Sir, is this in relation to the divers in the water? Yeah, it is. They're already on the boat, so we'll just take them back in. You can collect them from Hillary's. Are they on your boat already? Yes, correct. I believe they're just boarding on now. I don't mind if you want to put them back in the water and we can pick them up. Okay, one guy is going back into the water, the other one's just holding on the back of the boat until you get here just for support.
So one of the divers was actually so exhausted he could not even carry himself up onto the ferry after the incident, while they did wait for the Perth Diving Academy to come back out and get them. But let me know in the comments below, would you have gotten back into the water in this situation? It is under investigation by the Australian Maritime Authority, and it'll be interesting to find out what actually happened, how these guys got stranded out there in the water. Thanks for watching, crew. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know when you might see your stories over here. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button.